Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Washington Wrestle Talk podcast. I am your host, Mike. I do have to apologize to you guys for not doing an episode last week. It was kind of a chaotic week. Super Bowl happened last Sunday, which was a complete disaster of a game for me to watch. But let's just get into everything happening right now. I'm just a little bit winded right now because I just did a walk here in Vancouver, Washington, where I'm based out of. We've been having some fun weather here. We had snow yesterday. It's snowing again here today. Some of the sidewalks weren't cleared off. So I'm wearing Chuck Taylor Converse All-Stars in snowy and icy conditions and not even having a care in the world about it. So first thing I want to address is we had another sad passing in the world of wrestling on the 1st. Les Thornton, who was a 3-time, I believe, former NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, passed away on the 1st. He was a Canadian institution. He wrestled for the NWA. Like I said, he won the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship in the 70s and 80s, I believe. Back when the junior heavyweights were more known to be, what's the word I'm looking for here? Was more prevalent in back then it was considered a sport of wrestling. Excuse me, I'm also fighting off a cold here, so I'm just trying to get my get my nose cleared up and everything. He died at the age of 84 in Calgary. He was born on April 9th, 1934. His career spanned from 1957 until 1990, so he had a good long career. Looks like he was a 6-time NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, and plus, a bunch of regional. He even wrestled here in the Pacific Northwest when it was Portland Wrestling or Big Time Wrestling. But he will be missed. He was a cornerstone of the junior heavyweights. Last Monday night was WWE Raw in Portland. I was in attendance at the show. It was a fun show, actually. Went with 3 friends of mine. We had really good seats. If you follow me on Facebook, you saw all the pictures that I had posted on my wall. People thought I was ringside, but in actuality, I was doing an 8-time zoom on all of the pictures. Got to see Becky Lynch there. And then I showed one of the friends of ours that was with us, a picture of myself with Becky Lynch at the Wizard World Comic Con 2 years ago. And she asked me about, because I'm a big Deadpool fan myself, and she asked me what I thought of Gina Carano in the movie, and I just went, yeah, just kind of did the raspberry, and she laughed. But it was really super cool to see her. She is so over with the crowds now. She's kind of like the Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Austin versus McMahon storyline from, 1997 to 2001. That's how Becky Lynch is now with, Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. She has been invited to Raw this Monday night. So the show started at about 4:30 in the afternoon Pacific time. They started the main event tapings. The first match was Lacey Evans versus Natalya. Natalya was really over with the crowd in Portland, and Natalya wins with the sharpshooter in a decent match for the women. the next matchup was Tyler Breeze versus No Way Jose, and No Way Jose was kind of over with the crowd, not as much as he was when he was in NXT, when NXT came to Portland, I want to say 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, back when Finn Balor and Samoa Joe were still in NXT. Jose gets the win in the battle of babyface versus babyface. And then the main show starts. You got Becky Lynch coming out. And the story is that, she injured her knee at the Royal Rumble. And, Stephanie McMahon wasn't going to allow her to compete at WrestleMania unless she got a doctor's clearance. Well, Becky Lynch attacks Stephanie, has security come out. Adam Pearce, one of the producers, comes out, and they escort Becky out of the building. And it was like I said, it's pretty reminiscent of, things like Austin versus McMahon back in the 90s. I mean, you're never going to see, you thought you weren't going to see something like that again until, Becky Lynch happens. And I just received breaking news that one of the websites that I go and get my information on, WrestleView.com, one of the writers, Chad Dixon, passes away this weekend. He passed away this weekend after a battle with cancer. It is, this is really not a good year for the wrestling community. We've lost so many people already. Other big news, I'm just going to just overpass Raw, but even though it was cool to see Kurt Angle have a match in Raw, as he and Braun Strowman defeated the team of Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin. I've never been a fan of Baron Corbin. I'm just going to say that right now. Ever since he made his main roster debut, I have he's been wasted. He's squandered his opportunities. He's just, I don't know what they see in him, but, they see something in him. And when he became Constable Corbin, he really, must have had some favor with creative or Vince McMahon or Triple H or someone. But he's one of those guys that I just don't like at all. Some other big happenings, of course, All Elite Wrestling is making some headlines. They've announced a new partnership with AAA Lucha Libre down in Mexico. So you're going to see an influx of talent to All Elite Wrestling. They had their Double or Nothing press conference that was streamed live on YouTube this past Wednesday. And of course, you knew Chuck, like I said, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, the best friends, have signed with All Elite Wrestling, as of the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr., and Phoenix. Phoenix speaks a fairly good amount of English. Pentagon, not so much. Pentagon is the older brother, but Phoenix has probably had more experience in the United States, promo skill-wise and everything like that, especially, with Lucha Underground, because that's where we first saw Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix, as he's called, or, if you're in my case, I saw them both when they were with AAA Lucha Libre Worldwide. Yeah, I've seen a lot of talent from AAA that have, gone on to Lucha Underground. But the bigger story was the hottest free agent in wrestling right now, Kenny Omega, has officially signed with All Elite Wrestling, and he is the executive vice president, one of the executive vice presidents with All Elite Wrestling. And another big news that just broke last night Ring of Honor is coming to the Pacific Northwest for the very first time, June 1st in Kent, Washington, and June 2nd in Portland, Oregon, at Portland State University's Viking Hall, I believe. The news was broke to me last night, and I couldn't be more excited because, weather conditions here prevented me from going to the Defy Wrestling show last night in Portland. But, with June coming up, tickets have not gone on sale yet for the Ring of Honor show here in Portland. But I can guarantee you this: I will be at that show on June 2nd. And, it'll be refreshing to see something other than, WWE or NXT come here. I'd even like to see All Elite come to the Moda Center or the Coliseum here in Portland. It'll be just refreshing to see a big time promotion other than WWE come to the city of Portland. And, Portland's long overdue for something like this. The only thing that Portland has as far as professional sports teams is the Blazers and the Timbers. So that's about all I have for, excuse me again. And in some NXT news, Halftime Heat, which happened during the halftime of the Super Bowl last week, where the match was Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa taking on the team of the Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, and Aleister Black, with Black, Dream, and Ricochet getting the win. But it was the most watched watched NXT match ever. And that's saying a lot because they were streaming it not only on the WWE Network, but they were streaming it on WWE.com, Facebook Watch, YouTube, just every platform that they could. I believe they even streamed it on Twitter. So, of course, it was going to be the most watched. And it was a very entertaining match. And, of course, you had Shawn Michaels, the Hall of Famer, on color commentary for the match. So it was a heck of a match. If you haven't seen it yet, it is still on YouTube now. And another thing that I like to watch on YouTube is the WWE Performance Center channel, and they've been showing a lot of behind the scenes on some of the new talent that has come into NXT. One such series has been Matt Riddle, from when he signed his contract to, moving from Massachusetts, I believe, to Orlando. Another one that they're doing now is a guy by the name of Eric Bugenhagen. This guy, I kid you not, is going to be the future. He's jacked to the gills. He's very charismatic. He was playing air guitar, air keyboards, air drums during his introduction. He was just having fun, very charismatic. Hits high notes like he's a rock singer. The guy was a bodybuilder. He's also a video gamer, but he is going to be one to watch, and I'm very excited to see this guy, make his way up through the ranks, even though he did lose to Drew Gulak, who was making his debut on NXT, coming from 205 Live to NXT, but he was also in the Cruiserweight Classic a couple years ago. But after Gulak defeated Bugenhagen, he faced Matt Riddle. And for those of you who don't know, there is history between Matt Riddle and Drew Gulak, dating back to their days in Evolve Wrestling when they were known as, Catch Club. So with that in mind, I'm going to, I don't know if you guys have noticed that I've done a little changing to some of this podcast. It's not about just professional wrestling, but it's also about, friends of mine that do what's called session wrestling.